The Boyd Lady Broncos have broken through. They are headed to the state tournament for the first time ever as Coach Kelly Quinn joins us now. And Kelly, you sweep Austin Westlake in the state quarterfinals this past weekend in Huntsville. All season long, since the beginning, you and your players have been focused on one goal. You've been talking about state. Now that you've accomplished that, what are the emotions inside?
Wow, you always talk about your goals, and it's kind of like, you say your goals pretty high, but when you finally achieve them, it's like, as far as the kids, I could see them going, we can actually do this. We can actually, seeing our matchup, playing Cy Falls on Friday, or this upcoming Friday, we have a chance to go all the way. It's so exciting, and it's fun because what we've been working so hard for all season long could actually happen, and it's all of their hard work, and they realize that, and they are so determined right now and so ready and focused. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a team quite like this one before, ever.
Ranked third in the state going into this past weekend in Huntsville at Sam Houston State. You beat Georgetown in the regional semifinals. You beat Westlake, ranked second in the state the following day. Every game going down to the wire. Are you surprised at all that you were able to take all three from Westlake?
It really, we happened to win all 3 games in a row. It really wasn't an easy match for us at all. They are one of the best teams in the state. Al Bennett is one of the, he's a legend. He'll go into the Hall of Fame. He's been at Westlake for so long that it was point for point until we had a few runs right at the end, and that's kind of what put us over the edge just to get to 25 first. It really wasn't, if you look at it saying, wow, we swept them, yes, we did, but it was a great match, and they played great. Megan Millette, and I love that kid. She just played great. She came to compete. It was really nice.
21 kills against Westlake, 28 the day before against Georgetown. She leads your team in kills this season. And Megan is so lethal, even though she's only 5'8", and we always talk about height in volleyball, but when you watch her play on the floor, it's really overrated.
Oh, she's, the height, you mean?
Yeah.
The height's overrated? Oh, yeah, she can jump. She can probably touch as high as girls that are 6'1" easily. Her vertical is just outstanding. And what was so interesting about the match against Westlake and having Megan compete so well is that Coach Bennett knew exactly where she was going. I could hear him yelling at his team saying, number 7's going to, hit a whatever we were running at the time. He knew exactly what she was hitting, but they couldn't stop her. Even knowing exactly what play we were about to run, no one could stop her. So she's playing so great. So her height really doesn't make her, any less of a weapon than any 6'2" kid in the state.
Certainly does not define Megan, that's for sure, as a junior, and you get her back as a senior. Of
I
course,
know.
this season is not even over yet, but don't look too far ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
With Georgetown the day before in the regional semifinals, you lose the first game. First time that your team had dropped a game since the district opener against Rowlett, which is ages ago. Yeah. But that didn't faze your team one bit, even though you had been so dominant up to that point. Came back and won the next 3.
Yes, and the Georgetown match was point for point, and Georgetown was a great team. They were huge, and their block was it was probably the best block we faced, probably since Lovejoy when we played the Orma match. But we lost that first match, and there were the first set in that Georgetown match, and it was a few bad calls by the officials, and I just about got ejected from the game. Not really, but I had totally lost my cool. I was so mad at the call that I didn't even call my last time out, and I just said, okay, I have to refocus. We lost that set, and I went from being so angry at the officials, because I really do feel like it was a poor officiating call, just to going, okay, girls, it is what it is. We're going to move on. And they really stepped up too, and we all relaxed, including myself, and blood pressure came back down a little bit, and we took the second set 25-16, so they did rebound very well.
In such a pressurized environment, of course the regional semifinals being where you ended up last year, you obviously have those goals ahead of you. You feel like things might be slipping away, things that are out of your control, like you say, the officiating. How do you regather yourself and refocus and get back to the task at hand?
I think it goes back to 1 point at a time. You can't, right now, there's so much pressure on all of those girls. And you have to remember they're 17 years old, they're 16 years old, they're young, and there is so much pressure on them right now. And I think that you have to take all the stressors that is outside of our control and just go, okay, what can we focus on? What can we control? And we can control the ball when it's on our side. And so we're right now, I kind of, after that first set against Georgetown, I just said, okay, one at a time, take one at a time. And you know, in the third set against Georgetown, we were down 14-6, and we came back. I called a timeout, and I just said, you know, they kind of came over, and I said, you guys, I said, we've worked too hard and too long to start hanging our heads now. I said, we are in this match, and I said, but right now, we have a defeated spirit about us. And I could see in Krista Bukovic, my middle, her face just kind of switched a little bit, and they came back, and I just kept saying, 1 point at a time. It's going to take one person to do one thing and build on that energy, and then, you know, the next point, chip away, keep going. And so basically just not letting all of the extra stressors come in and just focus on each point. And if we can focus on each point, I don't really think that there's a team in the state that can beat us right now.
Certainly a special group, and
yeah.
One of the heartbeat of this team as a senior has to be Drew Darling.
Yeah. 13
kills, 17 digs against Georgetown. She leads your team in digs. What kind of a calming influence does she provide here in this postseason? She is,
I've said this a million times talking about her, she is so even. You know, even in the most stressful situations, when I called a timeout, it was 14-6, she's still smiling. You know, she doesn't hang her head. She just, you know, she puts a smile on her face, and it's not even like she's having to force it. She's just even. She's so calm, and I think the kids kind of feed off of that evenness, especially when it does get so tight. You know, 21-21, 22-22. That's when we need those calm, composed kids to really step up, and she has done it since her freshman year. She's just naturally one of those kids that can step up and play extremely well under a lot of pressure.
Drew headed to the University of Texas. She won't play volleyball there. She's going to enjoy her college life.
Yeah.
Do you imagine what kind of a Division I college volleyball player Drew would be if she had gone down if she would go down that road?
Oh, I'm sure she would have been recruited by a bunch of Division I colleges. She's definitely the caliber to play at the next level. It's just she is choosing to, you know, go, okay, that was my time in life, and move on. I think she could have. I think she could have played at easily a Division I school. She's a Division I caliber athlete.
You have juniors and seniors everywhere in this lineup. We talked about this at the beginning of the season, how much of a veteran presence you have and how that has helped springboard your team to where it is now. I was struck by the Dallas Morning News Volleyball Spotlight a couple of weeks ago. Megan was asked about this team, and she described her teammates as sisters, like family. Describe the tight-knit group that you have right now.
The chemistry on this team is, you hope for it, but you can't always create it, and sometimes teams self-destruct within themselves, but this team is just extremely tight. I mean, they really are. I mean, they pick on each other, and it's kind of like positive peer pressure and whatever. You know, if someone's not running very fast or whatever, they'll say, you look like you're running through mud right now. Like they kind of, they're always pushing each other to be better. They really are. It is like a sister. It's like a family. You know, you may not always like them, but I know that there's always love there. It's a pretty unique situation, something that coaches just hope for. You know, they're so united, and it's so refreshing, because then when I'm coaching them, I can focus on the X's and O's and not the girl drama that sometimes goes on in teams, especially during playoffs when it gets a little bit more stressful.
Certainly a stressful situation now. A happy moment for sure as you head to the state tournament. After the win over Westlake that clinched your berth going to the state semifinals, you said even though your team had achieved a dream, you wanted to make sure that they're still working point to point. Like you say, every single moment counts. There's always the danger of the happy to be here feeling, but I'm sure that you're guarding against that, and you have a whole week to prepare against that this week.
Yeah, I don't even think that is even we haven't had to I mean, like you said earlier, we've only lost one set during playoffs, and so there hasn't been like we accomplished a big match and now we're just, oh gosh, well we're one round past where we thought we would be. I mean, our goal is to go to state expecting to win. It's not just hoping to win, happy to be there. And I when we got off the bus and we got back to school on Saturday night, I said there were 108 teams that made playoffs. We're down to 4. And I said, and you guys, I think we have a lot to go. And they just were like, yeah. I mean, there's no hoping we win or happy to be there. I mean, they're still focused. They still know what the ultimate goal is, you know. And at this point right now, every team should be peaking. I mean, every team should be at the highest level they play, and basically we're just comparing their peak to our peak, and hopefully our peak is just a little bit higher than theirs. And so anyway, as of right now, there is absolutely no complacency right now. They know what the goal is, and we can do it. I mean, we absolutely have everything going for us. We just, you know, if our peak is higher than their peak. That's kind of what it is.
You head down to San Marcos, face a team from Houston in Cy Falls, 41 wins this year. I'm not going to ask you for a scouting report as you're getting ready to take on the Lady Eagles this week, Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock at Texas State. What do you need most of all from your team Friday?
I need them to be aware of the Coliseum atmosphere. It's different, and they just have to adapt quickly. Playing in front of a lot of people is sometimes intimidating, and they have to come blocking that kind of thing out. It's the same net, it's the same court, same ball we've always played with, and just being there and not being overwhelmed with the Coliseum. And what I said to them the other day, they kind of, I said, guys, there are times when girls look like they're walking through a casino in Las Vegas, just completely overwhelmed, you know, with the noises and the lights and the sounds and, you know, everything, that they just kind of look like this. And I said, you've got to be able to push that away and just focus on what you're doing and not be overwhelmed with all the stimulus that's going on outside of playing the game of volleyball. So that, I just need them to come prepared and focused and not just kind of expect. I'm trying to warn them what's in front of them, but just being there mentally ready to compete.
Kelly, congratulations on how far your team has gone so far. Certainly best of luck coming up this weekend.
Thank you.
Kelly Quinn, head coach of the Boyd Lady Broncos. The journey continues for McKinney Boyd. They are 2 victories away from a state championship. First up, the state semifinals against Cypress Falls, 5 o'clock Friday afternoon at Strahan Coliseum on the campus of Texas State University in San Marcos.